Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Asa with Lease Option Chicago and Northwest Indiana. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about the basics because I want to get you grounded in how powerful this strategy is, not only for you as the investor, for the owner of the property, as well as the person that's going to be occupying the property. All right, so we do have a new subscriber, and I'm going to do my best to welcome all the subscribers that come aboard. In the beginning, it's going to be very easy because I have none or very few, but I'd like to welcome you, Jay Hamilton.
Welcome to a PowerPoint presentation.
All right, so it's not going to be a PowerPoint presentation, but I just want to say welcome to you. We're going to talk about the basics again. So, as we talk about the basics, it's going to give you a grounded assessment of how powerful these things are. So, we're going to go to my screen, all right, and we're going to talk about how a lease option is the sleeper strategy. By using the lease option strategy, now I'm going to interchange and you're going to hear different terms kind of come out of my mouth. So I'm going to give you the update now. So I will say lease option, I will say purchase option, I may say rent to own, I may say all of these things, but I want you to understand they are the same thing. So I may say it at different times. Now, by using the lease option strategy, you can actually make more money in real estate investing than the other investor, the typical investor, we'll call him the typical investor, while avoiding the normal roadblocks associated with traditional real estate investing. The normal roadblocks, financing, rehabs, problem tenants. These are just some of the roadblocks or challenges you may face as you invest in real estate. Now, lease options are a strategy that is centered in an area where there are don't wanters. This is focused on problem owners. And this is a great area to be because you have less competition. Now, you have other real estate investment companies coming into town quarterly, if not more, and they are giving all kinds of strategies on rehabbing and renting and things like that. This is the sleeper strategy, lease options. And we're going to talk about it, all right? Before we go into that, I want to tell you now the sleeper strategy with lease options, it allows you to benefit in so many ways. One, it provides immediate solutions for the owner. We're going to talk about this on another video. It gives you several, how many? Yes, several paydays to you as the investor, and it allows an opportunity for a financially challenged buyer to own a nice piece of property, a nice home in a nice neighborhood, even if they are credit challenged and typically would not be able to own a property any other way. I want to go back to one thing. It provides you, the investor, paydays, several paydays on one property. And we're going to get into that in other videos. All right, so let's get back to the strategies here. All right, so lease option is the sleeper strategy. Let's give you some basic definitions. What is a lease? All right. A lease is an agreement by which an owner of a piece of real estate of a property, let's call it real property. You know, the legal term for that person is the lessor. I think that's right. If it's not, forgive me. Where the owner of a real property, the lessor gives the right of possession to another, which will be the leasee or lessee, however you want to say it, for a specific period of time, which is also known as a term. All right, and for a specific consideration. I love that word, which is rent, money. All right, so a lease is nothing more than an agreement by which an owner of a real property gives the right of possession to a another person, a lessee, for a specific period of time, a term, and for a specific consideration. All right, so that's the lease. Now I know this may be boring, but we need to cover it because it's important for you to have the right terminology and language. Okay, so what is a purchase? Duh, we know what that is, right? To acquire real estate, we're just going to leave it there, is to acquire real estate by means other than an inheritance. And I'll get a better definition later, but we're on the go right now, so we'll see how it flows. Option. What in the world is an option? This is new stuff for you guys, I know, and this is great. It is the power or right to choose, freedom of choice, a privilege of a fulfillment of a contract or any day within a specific or specified SPECIFI specific specified IED time. All right, the power or right to choose, the freedom of choice, is a privilege of demanding fulfillment of a contract or any day within a specified period of time. So let's hit this. My favorite button, and privilege, spell check that joker. And no, it should have been. All right, we're going to leave it like that. Yeah. All right, so now what is a lease option? All right, so real estate investing and rehabbing is very sexy. It's like, ooh, I took it from there and did it this. This is boring, but we're going to get to the exciting stuff later. So a lease option is an instrument giving the right to a party to lease or purchase property over a specified time period for a consideration. So, keywords. It's an instrument giving the right to a party to lease or purchase the property over a specified time period for a specified consideration. Now, this is binding on the optionor. It's binding on the owner. All right. The seller, we got owner or seller, has to sell, but the optionee, the buyer, and I like to say the tenant buyer, does not have to buy. So at any time, they can get out of the contract by just simply walking away. All right? We'll get into more detail on that later. And a strategy that I love is when you lease option a business. You don't have to purchase a business right out. You can actually lease option that business from that owner. For example, let's say it's an accounting firm or any kind of business, and the owner says this much revenue is coming through it, this much cash flow as we have, and things like that. And they even have books, but it's not certified by a CPA. You can request to lease option that business for 6 months to a year to verify and validate the revenue that's going through the business. All right, and that is something that's we'll talk about in other videos as well. That's a highly advanced strategy for people that are looking to purchase businesses. So we'll talk about that later. Let's get back to option to purchase. All right. So what is the option to purchase? And that's what we're talking about here. The option to purchase is a lease the right to purchase the property. All right, so these are just some quick terms right here that you need to know. All right, a lease is just an agreement where an owner gives the possession of a property, just like your standard rental situation. Purchase is to acquire property. Option, the power to choose, the freedom of choice, a privilege of demanding fulfillment of a contract, right? You can exercise your option to buy it or sell it. Okay, a lease option is an instrument giving the right to a party to lease or purchase a property over a specified period of time. All right, so, and the option to purchase is a lease under which the leasee, the tenant buyer, has the right to purchase the property. So, what I want you to understand is that when you have knowledge on how to solve problems, you have a huge advantage over the entire market. I used this strategy in Las Vegas and crushed the market because so many investors were spec buyers. This is going back before the meltdown of the industry. They were buying on speculation, meaning they would buy it and hold it for 3 months and then sell it and profit 50, 70, 80, 100 grand. Or they were building and doing the same thing, but it was all speculation. I was systematic in my approach, and I had zero competition. And what I'm sharing with you, this information, you're going to have zero competition. That's the name of the game. Right now, the buy, fix, and sell or buy, fix, and rent game is so saturated. It's so full of so many investors bumping into each other who don't really know the game, don't know the business. I can show you how to go area code by area code and crush the market. And I'm gonna give you a scenario later. All right. So let's talk about something here: getting control. So this is something that the wealthy have dominated for years. They know the importance of owning everything and controlling everything and owning nothing. If you talk to a wealthy individual, a millionaire, multimillionaire, 100,000 there doesn't make the cut typically. But true business people that have acquired assets and wealth, we understand the importance of not having to own anything. Controlling it is just as good as owning it, because when you own it, you take on liability, you take on risk, you're taking on an element that you don't have to if you just control the asset. All right, so getting control without the ownership. Let's go back here and I'll show you a little something. When you do that with real estate, oh man, when you do that real estate, you have no obligation, just the right to buy you don't need high volume, right? If you're going to buy, fix, and rent or buy, fix, and flip, you're going to need a lot of high volume. But you get profit. So that's kind of example like with Walmart. Walmart developed a strategy where they didn't buy the items that went on the shelves in their stores. Right? Other stores prior to that were buying the items, putting it on the shore on the shelf, and then selling them, hoping to make a profit, hoping that they bought low enough so that they could sell high enough to cover the huge overhead of their store, the employees, insurance, and all those things. Walmart came up with a different strategy. It's like, nah, we're not going to buy anything. We'll let you put it on our shelves, and when it sells, we'll pay you, and then we'll take our profit. All right. So that's very similar to what we're going to explore here with the lease option strategy. You're going to be able to not have high, going back here, not have high, HIGH. You won't need to have high value, but you'll get high profit. How is that? All right. So if you have little to no money out of your pocket and you are bringing in $300 a month net positive cash flow, what is your rate of return? I'll wait on you to do the math. If you have nothing out of your pocket and you're making $300 a month, your rate of return is infinite because you have nothing. So I have to calculate some kind of dollar per hour that I put into the equation so that I can give myself an ROI. All right. So you get control without ownership, and that's going to allow you to get very high profit with low value. So the next thing I want to talk about is the pathway to profit is problem owners. We call these folks don't wanters. The deal is created by the circumstances. I'll say it again. The deal is created by the circumstances. What are the circumstances that are centered around this homeowner? When you, so one of the words that my dad used to use when I used to tell him about my deals was wow. And it was wow because he couldn't understand how I was able to acquire real estate the way I was. Because owners will just give you properties. Give them to you. Now I'm talking about nice homes in nice neighborhoods. I'm not talking about rundown, beat up homes with no roof, both doors are open and the basement is flooded. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about nice homes in nice neighborhoods because these are the only properties that we're going to focus on. That's it. Nice homes, nice neighborhoods. So the pathway to profit is problem owners. The deal is created by circumstances because all we have to do is find problem owners. And what I like to call them is don't wanters. It's a made up word, but don't wanters are the ones that are problem owners. Now we're going to go into how you find the problem owners. You're going to be blown away at how many entry points there are when dealing with problem owners. Okay, the next is okay, so needy people, nice homes, and new or nice neighborhoods. We're not talking about properties in rundown, beat up, dilapidated neighborhoods where you need bulletproof clothes to go look at the property. You only can go between 10 a.m. and 10:15 a.m. because that's when you can go where you don't have to deal with problem environments. We're talking about nice homes in nice neighborhoods. And there are so many needy people in these nice homes, in these new and nice neighborhoods. All right. So desirable, and these desirable areas create demand. And that's because they are hidden in plain plain sight. All right. So that's where we're going to go. And the last thing we're going to talk about is determining the determining factors for relief. All right. Let's put that up there. How you spell relief? And it's not Rolaids, right? What is the determining factor for relief? And that is debt relief. All right. We're going to be focused on people that don't want to sell. All right. We're going to take over properties and be given properties by people who don't want to sell. We're going to be dealing with people that need to sell. That is the biggest difference. Dealing with people that need to sell. That's the determining factor. Debt relief. Man. That need to sell. All right. And that is the main difference. A lot of times when I was focused on strategies that were not in this arena, you spend a lot of times making lowball offers, trying to convince sellers that it's a good deal when you know it's not. Even when you're dealing with short sales, you're working with the bank trying to negotiate what's going on there. Sometimes you may inflate or show justification for repairs so that you can show that $127,000 of repairs is needed. That's why I can't buy the property for $400,000, which brings the price down. So all these things are centered around dealing with people that don't need to sell, but may want to sell. That is the main difference. So next, let's go here, back to the board, and talk about what we're going to be dealing with. So we are not, with this strategy, we are not we're not buying property. All right, so what the heck is that about, right? What do you mean we're investing in real estate but we're not buying property? No, we're not. What we're doing is we're buying problems. What does that mean? We're focused on solving problems for people. That's the main aim. When you're dealing with a distressed homeowner, when you're dealing with a don't wanter, you have to focus on what's the problem. If you're a doctor, you find out what hurts. If you're in the emergency room, man, there's a serious problem. And that's what we are. We're emergency room real estate investors. And we focus on solving the problem. And when you focus on solving the problem, there is, and this is what main thing I like. Little no money out of pocket. That's golden. That is golden. And why is that? That is because you're focusing on solving the problem, not buying the property. not buying the property. Or you can also say you're focusing on solving the problem for the person, not the property. Right? Not the property. So when you're dealing in this arena, there is a huge pipeline. Not like this, but it's a huge pipeline of MOV, MOTIVA. Hello. Oh, I get it right. So what's the benefit of this? There's a huge pipeline of motivated buyers for the properties that we provide solutions to. And these are people that are starting over, just starting, people need a hand up, not a hand out. So we will not have an issue, will not have a problem at all when it comes to moving these properties. All right, so the number one item that we need is by the seller. All right, so this is just I wanted to talk to you about today and just give you a brief overview, a little bit of a foundation. And I will actually provide this document that I typed on in the notes down at the bottom. So if it was a website, I'll put it on the notes, but you'll be able to click on the link down in the below this video, and you'll be able to download all this stuff here. So we're just going to talk about that stuff today. Tomorrow or the next day, we're going to be talking more about the profit centers, because I just wanted to get you excited about the type of profit that can be gained and the money that's generated with lease options in comparison to buying and renting and buying and selling. All right. So this is Asa with Lease Options Chicago and Northwest Indiana. I will talk to you later. Peace.